Let me start off by saying good morning, everybody. Y'all, I came across this story. I had no intentions of talking about this story, although I have been seeing all of the updates on this story. But after reading an article about this story, I decided that I wanted to do a video to amplify this story. I read the article. The article is from Mother Jones, and what it is, it's an investigative report. And by the time I finished it, I was speechless. I was speechless. Why? Because according to the reporting, the allegations surrounding Congressman Max Miller, the list is long. Now, before we get into this, because Max Miller likes to sue, let me say what needs to be said. Everything that I am going to talk about comes from an investigative report from Mother Jones. And Mother Jones got their information from court filings, police records, text messages, and other legal documents. I want to say that these are allegations. They are not convictions. Congressman, I don't want to give him that title, Max Miller has denied all of these allegations. All of these allegations that I'm getting ready to bring to your attention. So with that out of the way, let's talk about Senator Max Miller. This right here is Max Miller with his wife, Emily. I believe now she's going by Emily Moreno. Prior to, she was Emily Miller, I guess. Emily and Max got married in 2023. I think she had a baby in 2024, and then they were divorced in 2025. I may be off a year or two, but yeah, they weren't married for long. And there's a reason why. So if you are sensitive to talks about domestic violence, child abuse, this may not be the video for you, okay? Okay, let's talk. Wait. I cannot forget another character in this story. This is Bernie Moreno. Bernie Moreno is the father to Emily Moreno, who was Max Miller's wife. Bernie Moreno is also a senator. Okay? All right, let's move forward. A lot of us Democrats, we may not know who Max Miller is or know much about Max Miller. I didn't know much about him until I started seeing the stories coming out about him. But Max Miller is a Republican. He is one of Donald Trump's biggest allies. Donald Trump endorsed him. Max Miller campaigned with and for Donald Trump, and Donald Trump campaigned for Max Miller. Donald Trump helped to get Max Miller into Congress. Shouldn't be a shocker. Birds of a feather flock together. But according to Mother Jones in this story that they put out, this investigative report, there's more going on with Max Miller, according to court documents, police records, things like that. Mother Jones's investigation focuses heavily on allegations made during the ongoing custody dispute between Emily Moreno and Max Miller. They are currently divorced, I believe. And according to courtroom filings, she alleges that Max Miller has assaulted her on multiple occasions and it's all in those documents. One reported incident allegedly occurred during a custody exchange while their 2-year-old daughter was present. The reporting says photographs documenting her bruises were later submitted to the courts. I found some of those photographs out there on social media. This was not a part of Mother Jones's article. I will put a link to the article that I got these photographs from, but here they are. This is one of the photographs, and they labeled this photograph as Exhibit A through 3. And this photograph documents injuries from the June 2024 incident in which Moreno alleges Max Miller threw hot water on her after she told him she planned to leave him. This is also another photograph from the court filings, and this one says that it documents injuries from the June 2024 incident in which she alleges Miller threw hot water on her and sprayed her with the sinkholes. It also says the Daily Mail's May 7th article also reported on a February 2026 custody exchange in which Moreno alleged Miller struck her, leaving bruises on her arm, elbow, and torso. This is another photograph labeled as Exhibit A5, and it's also showing bruising from the hot water that he allegedly threw onto her. Now, as if those photos weren't bad enough, he did more. So it's already disturbing to learn that he threw boiling water on his ex-wife, but it was also disturbing to learn that their 2-year-old daughter was in the vicinity while that took place. But it gets more disturbing. I was sort of speechless in coming across this part of the investigative report. It actually made me stop reading for a second because I couldn't believe how horrific this part of the report was. But according to the records that Mother Jones reviewed, Max Miller's 2-year-old daughter suffered a broken collarbone. How does a 2-year-old suffer a broken collarbone? The reporting says that medical professionals did question whether the bruising from that injury appeared consistent with an accidental injury, because he told the people that it could have occurred from a seatbelt. But one child abuse specialist reportedly described the bruising and said that it looked like a handprint. Y'all, we're talking about a 2-year-old little girl. Let that sink in for a minute. A 2-year-old little girl ends up with a broken collarbone. Mom takes her to the emergency room because that's what happened according to the report from Mother Jones. Mom took her to the emergency room. Medical professionals were like, how did this happen? They did a whole Zoom call with police officers, and Max Miller is telling them it could have occurred from a seatbelt. But the one child abuse expert said, no, that ain't right. Because when I looked at the bruise, it looked like a handprint. A 2-year-old child with a broken collarbone. Now, that doesn't mean that a court has determined who caused those injuries. And I don't remember reading anything in the article that stated he was criminally charged or found guilty of causing those injuries. But the investigation says those concerns became a part of a larger custody dispute. But when medical professionals reportedly raised those kinds of concerns involving a 2-year-old child, I'm naturally going to pay attention. That's very concerning to me. That tells me you cannot control your anger to keep a 2-year-old child, your 2-year-old child, safe. Allegedly, I told y'all Max Miller likes to sue, and the article goes back years before Max Miller ever entered Congress. He's had a history, a trail of these types of allegations. Mother Jones's investigation didn't just stop at what's going on currently with him and his ex-wife. According to Mother Jones, a former college student alleged that Max Miller pushed her down a flight of stairs during an incident that she says became violent. She reportedly described it as one of the most traumatic experiences of her life. She said it happened 20 years ago, but she's still traumatized from it today. The reporting also says Max Miller has not denied being expelled from college over an incident involving a female student, although he disputes how that incident has been characterized. Yeah, he hasn't disputed it. Think about that. He says, but the way they're telling the story, it didn't quite happen that way. But according to the reporting, these allegations aren't confined to just one chapter of his life. So now we've got what the ex-wife is saying, and now someone from his past back during college is saying she also experienced violence from this man. There's more. The investigation that Mother Jones did, it also described accounts from former associates who portrayed Max Miller as having explosive anger. They reportedly described misogynistic comments, verbal abuse, in addition to physical abuse, controlling behavior, and just demeaning treatment of women, period. Y'all remember Stephanie Grisham? Stephanie Grisham, I believe, she worked for the Trump campaign, and then she worked with Trump some kind of way back during his first presidency. And then she ended up working for Melania, the First Lady's office, right? And she wrote a book talking about her experience. I read her book. I don't remember her talking about her relationship with Max Miller, but she ended up in a relationship with Max Miller. And she too has accused Max Miller of physically assaulting her during their relationship. Now, he has sued Stephanie Grisham, claiming that she was defaming his character because he denied that he ever assaulted Stephanie Grisham. But we got the allegations now from the wife. We've got the allegations from a former college student. And now we've got allegations from Stephanie Grisham. Allegations that form a pattern, in my opinion. Now remember, At the beginning of the video, I told y'all about Senator Bernie Moreno. Bernie Moreno is Emily's father. Emily is the ex-wife to Max Miller. Here's where the story involves Bernie Moreno. According to Mother Jones, who has gone through court filings, and it was discussed in these court filings, Max Miller allegedly sent a threatening text message directed at his former father-in-law, Senator Bernie Moreno. The reported text message included language suggesting that people were going to get to know Senator Moreno better and telling him to enjoy the ride. What does that mean? What does that mean? When you see language like that appearing in court filings, it truly makes you wonder, what is going on here? Why are you threatening Bernie Moreno? Maybe that would explain why when he was questioned about the allegations toward Max Miller, this is what he had to say.
Look, the only comment I make is that I love my daughter, I love my granddaughter. My total focus is their safety and security, and that's all I can say about it.
He loves his daughter, he loves his granddaughter, and their safety is what he's concerned about, and that's all he has to say about that. Wonder what Max Miller has on Bernie Moreno. Are you really concerned for their safety? He ain't got no smoke for Max Miller, but he's got a whole lot of smoke for 85-year-old Dr. Fauci.
Sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the fuck do you think you were for doing that? It is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat colleagues are standing there defending you, I hope the voters of the United States of America watch the clips of every one of you doting on a guy who was more interested in being a celebrity than saving American people.
When I started seeing the clips of the hearing that they had yesterday with Dr. Fauci, I thought they were old clips. I had no idea that they had subpoenaed Dr. Fauci to come down and testify in front of that committee. And that's what Bernie Moreno had to say to Dr. Fauci during that hearing. He's got a whole lot of smoke for 85-year-old Dr. Fauci, who has retired. He has no dealings with the government at all. He's gone into obscurity. And this is how this man got a whole lot of smoke for Dr. Fauci, but he has no smoke for the man that has allegedly physically abused his daughter, allegedly broken his 2-year-old granddaughter's collarbone. But yet the Republican Party will tell you that they care about women, they care about children, and they are protecting them. Okay. It didn't stop there. There was one more incident that Mother Jones was able to uncover. And I believe this took place back in high school. Max Miller, when he was in high school, he got into a car accident. I believe he hit something. I believe it was a light pole. Don't hold me to that. But according to the reporting, the records that Mother Jones was able to get their hands on, there was an investigation, and the investigation indicated that there was toxicology tests done, and it was found that there was a presence of MDMA and a drug called clonopin. Now that's according to police records that Mother Jones got. Okay, so we've got allegedly what he did to the wife on more than one occasion. We've got what allegedly he did to his 2-year-old daughter. We've got what he allegedly did to a college female student. Allegedly what he did to Stephanie Grisham. And now alleged drug use and getting into a car accident. That is Max Miller. I believe he's out in Ohio. And Max Miller is up for re-election. There's a whole lot of gossip, internet gossip that's taking place regarding this story out there on social media. But Mother Jones's investigative report isn't internet gossip, okay? Their reporting relies on court filings, courtroom documents, police records, medical records, photographs, text messages, and interviews with multiple people who are connected to all of these alleged events regarding Max Miller. Now, does that prove every allegation? No, it doesn't. Absolutely not. But people, well, I would say, yeah, people are entitled to due process. And I'm not sure if Max Miller has been hauled into court and been found guilty or not guilty of these allegations. From what I understand, he has not. But I also believe voters deserve to know when credible reporting raises serious questions about the conduct of our elected officials, right? And here's where I will always land in these types of situations. I don't care if you are a Republican or if you are a Democrat. I don't too much worry about the Democrats because the Democrats hold these types of individuals in their party accountable, and they will boot them out of the party. Republicans don't. Republicans don't. You see, all of this information allegedly was out there, and Donald Trump endorsed this man anyway. Voters went into the voting booth. Republican voters went into the voting booth and voted for this man anyway. Right? Allegations against harming women, allegations against harming a 2-year-old child, they deserve to be taken seriously. That doesn't mean anyone is automatically guilty, but in my opinion, I view you as problematic, and I don't want you representing me. Period. These allegations deserve attention. They deserve to be examined, and the process deserves to run its course. I believe they're still in and out of court. Emily and Max, they're fighting over the baby. They're fighting over the baby. And based on these allegations, I hope he doesn't get custody of the baby. Just my opinion. Anywho, y'all let me know your thoughts. Y'all let me know your thoughts. As voters, we also have a responsibility to stay informed, and y'all know I do my best to keep y'all informed. I don't know if any Republicans follow me, but yeah. Hopefully there are some out there in Ohio that follow me. And they will take this information and go into the voting booth to make an informed decision. I believe I read somewhere, it was stated somewhere, where in the courtroom documents, the baby, the 2-year-old baby, was quoted as saying, being at home with daddy is really scary, or daddy's house is really scary. Yeah, that's all I got, y'all. Y'all get down in the comment section. Have y'all heard this story about Max Miller? Do I have any Republicans following me? If you are out there, will you be voting for Max Miller? I believe the reason why this is being talked about so heavily is because the Senate is currently in play for Democrats. Anywho, yeah, we'll continue the conversation down in the comment section. I felt that my voice needed to be used to spread this story far and wide, or further and wider. That's all I got. I'll see y'all later.